Nick Diaz went on Havani's show talking about Nick Diaz lost to Jorge Masvidal, comeback plans, that type of thing, but got a lot of backlash for, his condition. Remember years ago there was this Chuck Liddell interview.
Yeah, it's a little different getting this, a little louder, a little stressing.
Okay, the movie 300, you've seen it, and you're out to promote the film right now, right? You okay, Chuck?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right, you all right?
All right, doing all right.
Like people were saying he's on drugs or he has brain damage, all the type of stuff that now people are saying about Nick Diaz. But I believe like he had taken too many downers. Obviously Nick wasn't as bad. Ariel didn't pull the cord on the interview. I don't know if it was necessarily to Nick's favor that it was cut like this. I wonder if there was like some shenanigans going on. He was made to wait by Nick Diaz like for 8 hours or something. Like he had to take a flight somewhere else, and I guess they delayed the interview and it was all up in the air. But even if it's short notice, man, this is a scheduled interview, I believe, Like, you're going on ESPN. Like, a lot of people are armchair quarterbacking this thing, you know what I mean? They're armchair neurologists, I guess, doing the brain scans, and they're diagnosing Nick Diaz with CTE. Kind of reminds me of, like, Brendan Sharp. Like, he was almost proud to have been knocked out and to be suffering from CTE. Anyway, definitely, if you listen to all the interviews, he talks a little bit more clearer and fluent.
And, unfortunately, in the first minute or so, he's got to try to recover from some punches. And I don't think it was so much that he's hurt. I talked to him too, to make sure. And I know what it's like to be in that sort of a situation. It's not so much that he's hurt and stunned. It's that, like, it's the very beginning of the fight and you get hit and you're not so sure, you can't really see. And this guy, he's a fully well-rounded fighter. He's okay to go to his back. This guy's going to, have to come in and try to finish him. It might be a better place to be at this point in time when the guy's trying to finish him than standing right up in his face. You see a lot of guys, try to pop back up on their feet because they can't survive being on the ground. Like Joe Riggs versus Diego Sanchez. And then Joe Riggs tries to jump right back up. He takes a hard shot and then he tries to jump right back up. I said, why are you going to do that? Why would you need to do that? It's obviously because you can't survive any sort of first round or any sort of any bit of the fight. He wouldn't be able to survive on the ground, like none of it. So he's popping up right away, boom, boom, and getting hit with a punch and a knee, and then that's it. But I know when I'm hit and I can't see and what's going on, I'm gonna go. I'll put a blindfold on and I'll still be able to put guard on you. So I'm probably gonna feel a little more comfortable there than standing right up on my feet trying to punch back at somebody that's already hit me real good. So.
He's in the clubs, having fun, drinking it up. And people have talked about, like, he lives his 20s now in his 30s and that type of thing. Like, I'm not mad at any of that, you know what I mean? But I always was kind of wondering when the guy comes back. And when you see videos, he's always, like, in a club environment.
George St. Pierre talking too a little bit.
Yeah, look, George, I'm like, for homeboy, as far as homeboy, go get yourself a job. Hell, they'll hire you. They ain't gonna hire me nowhere. So, go get yourself a job. As far as George, I'm like, George, I have a fucking nice life.
People tend to give him an out, That's just him having fun, because there are hot chicks around and he's Nick Diaz and shit. And you don't want to talk shit, I guess, on Nick Diaz, like, in case you ever run across him, even if you're like an MMA fighter. Like, most of these dudes, they want to be friends and fans and they want to be good with the guy, so they're not going to criticize too much. Interesting, actually, how people are even touching this topic. I haven't heard much on it, you know what I mean? And even when it was addressed about his state and the way he was going on, they didn't necessarily, like, go into it. They looked to get past the topic quick. Maybe Nick Diaz is just not as popular as he once was, This interview, it hasn't become the topic that I would have assumed it, It's kind of gone under the radar, like people are actually swaying the subject. Maybe that's because he's been that inactive. Like, it's the Diaz effect. They do everything to off the radar. They diminish their brand to a degree. Granted, like, Nate is still, like, through those corner fights, they acknowledge his existence, I guess, man. Nick Diaz, man, he's like Sasquatch, you know what I mean?
Are you all about it? Then come the fuck at me then. Come out here. I got a world title right here, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm like, come over here and take my fucking title then, bitch. My title ain't got no money on it. Come and get some.
No, that's
I'm
right.
gonna come at me then.
It's that Mickey Rourke thing. You've heard he's a great actor and shit, but, like, this dude looks fairly human. Like, I watched that Rated 101 video. He was analyzing that interview and he did a very good job capturing the mindset of the Diaz brothers.
Came with the greatest fighter of all time, Nick Diaz. And I got the Nick Diaz Army with me. We're here to take motherfuckers out.
Nate Diaz, ladies and gentlemen.
Nick Diaz army and everything, that's cool, you know?
Nick Diaz Army.
I didn't start it.
You didn't start Nick Diaz Army?
Nope.
Who started it?
It just accumulated.
happened.
It accumulated.
But it seems stronger than ever. They
Yeah.
always go out of their way to give you props. Always saying that you're the best.
All I'm saying is like, I never wanted to fight. I had to.
The same shit that comes out of Nate's mouth has come out of Nick's mouth like 10 years ago.
Somebody in the round in the fight earlier got wrecked. I think it was the Mohawk homie. What's his name? Yeah, Johnny Walker I saw him, he got hit, and then he knocked down, he jumped back up all fast trying to kill the guy back, and I'm like, that's not how you do it. You know what I'm saying? You need to just slow it down, recover, get time, and make it through that fight, you know what I'm saying? Because otherwise you're gonna lose, and I ain't planning on losing no fight, ever. You don't have to kill me. So,
And I'm not mad at Nate, like I'm not saying it's unoriginal or it is kind of unoriginal, but authentic, you know. I think it is. He believes that shit. That's his older brother. That's his drill sergeant.
Did you have any broken bones or anything?
No, but before I had a little injury before the fight. My left arm, I had to get a cortisone shot, and I stopped throwing punches like about 2 weeks before the fight. I've never done that. I didn't really throw punches in the warm-up the last couple of days. I didn't cut weight with throwing punches, so I wasn't in gear to throw punches, and I knew I was in big trouble best I could without having my rhythm together like I have in previous fights. Just had a little issues with my trainer as far as that goes, though, but with my punching and my arm here, it was actually locking up on me, and I couldn't punch with it.
I don't like to make it seem, you've heard it before probably, but I had a knee injury about 3 weeks ago, and it kept me from running, and that's why I tell all my boys all the time, if you're gonna be fighting people, you have to run hard, and you have to do rounds. You have to spar and you have to run. That's key, you know. And so I didn't have that, and I don't feel like I had the confidence that I usually had in my cardio. As far as going and pushing, I knew I could make it 5 rounds for sure, no matter what. But I couldn't keep the pressure. I didn't have the confidence to keep the pressure I usually keep because I want to make sure I pace that out good.
Fucking Nick though, you know, Nick is somewhere in the Hollywood Hills doing coke off hookers, asses, man, that type of shit, you know what I mean? Listen, man, why does he do an interview in that state, man? That's my only question. You think he tried to sober up for that shit? It's a scheduled interview. He's on ESPN in his mid-30s, man, like, just fried, man.
I'm like, and that's what I'm saying. I said no disrespect, but I'm like, game recognized game. I'm like, you know what you need to do. Like, this ain't no up to no UFC. We've seen that in the past already. And I don't need to do anything more than what I've already done here. Come out here and do the most to it.
And who knows, man, maybe that's some shit like where you, like, for a prolonged time, like, do certain things, you know? Your brain becomes like this, you know? I don't think this shit is CTE. I kinda want to blame this on his...
Do not know what that is about. That's called being young and dumb. You know, to sit there and to mock and things like.
I'm like, let's talk about who trained harder, who put more miles on the road, who put more miles than some weird chair like this, by the way. What the is this? I'm like, I'm sitting here before this thing gets, I'm trying to like move it. What the?
I'll let them know.
No, it's fine, but yeah, there should be like a little recline, like.
I feel you.
What is this, ESPN? Like, and there's like this thing, this weird chair. I should just get going, like,
Get
chill or something. That's how it was when I got here. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so I don't want to deal with that though, and I don't need to. But like,
kind of starting to become rough again. Like, what is he doing in those cuts? I'm wondering, you know? Partying out there, and Ariel sitting all awkwardly like he did when he visited Floyd Mayweather in his establishment with his flashy kicks while being offered lap dances, and obviously he's politely refusing and shit. You know, he went through a bunch of mood swings, man. That's what I was seeing, you know? Happy, angry, you know, confrontational, all that type of shit.
Oh no, what the f am I gonna say? Hopefully I didn't, you know, use too many F-bombs and act like some thug life sitting here next to Ariel with this, you know, type of way, and me with me. You know, I don't know what I don't know. It's like I don't know what to tell you, people. I'm sorry.
Times you get happy and giddy, and that like some schizo thing that's coming to light now, you know. Maybe that shit was always there. Like, people talk about the tangents, and you know, maybe there was always like a smidge of bipolarism going on there when you listen to the interviews and shit.
Makes sense. And if I could follow up with Nick real quick. Nick, obviously you talked about the difficulties of finding proper training partners, and they need to be compensated. Pardon my ignorance, but isn't that something that's usually taken care of by the fighter or in his camp? I mean, who should be compensating those guys, and what's the fix to that problem?
I don't know, maybe there's not enough money in the sport, man. You got Floyd Mayweather making $25 million. You know, he can't stop the double leg. You know, I had to go to school to learn how to do that shit. I had to go, you know, I had to work hard, and I had to, you know, study every aspect. And that's what we're doing out here. And I think that if I was making a tiny piece of that everybody I know would be compensated. Everybody I know, including my own family.
Please.
As far as I'm concerned, those were, then, you know, I'm not good with numbers, but those are the numbers I can recognize, you know. I've never had time to be good with numbers or small talk or, you know, what the happy hour, you know, but like, once they gave me a break, you know, so did everybody else around me that was, you know, important to me, but I had to give them a break too, and I had to make, you know, a little bit of a separation before I could paint a picture. But I got a lot done, and I did it exactly what I was supposed to be doing, just the way I should have been doing it at the exact right time. So, you know, and looking back, I'm like, I made no mistakes. Like, I never have. I can tell you the story, paint you the picture, tell you the story, no problem, of course. I mean, I just tell you straight up because I didn't do nothing wrong. You know what I mean? So, and I'm always the bad guy, negative light, dark cloud. Oh, sorry, sorry you lost the fight. Oh, because I didn't show up to a press. People on my team wasn't gonna elaborate that this was a must. You know what I mean? Like, cause, you know what I mean? Like, if I wasn't paying them, then they probably wasn't getting paid, and then I was missing out on paper. And you know what I mean? The Ultimate Fighting Championships, they didn't have the platform to produce these numbers and funds that I needed. You know what I mean? They didn't have that to do what they needed to do with the platform that I built for them. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned.
But it's obviously the barbiturates. Not about the alcohol. Not only did he have mood swings, man, it seemed like whatever was on, man, that shit was wearing off at the end. He was starting to kinda caress himself, man. Also, he has that Herman Monster head, man. He doesn't even look like he's related to Nate anymore. It's that bloated head. The fuck is going on there, man? Like, I'm not wishing anything bad on the guy. Actually, I'm like looking forward to seeing him come back and fight. But at what point, like, this guy is 36, 37. I don't want to see a 38, 39-year-old Nick Diaz like walk into punches, zombie-like, you know what I mean? As much as there's a hype about their boxing skill and everything, you know what I mean? These dudes, they tend to be nails, although they kind of portray themselves as hammers.
Part of their frustration really isn't work, you know. It's more to do with boxing. And as most of you people know, we were supposed to work out with the Andre Ward camp. And the guys there, the professional boxers, aren't going to box with us. and that's part of the problem here. You know, they all want X amount of compensation, and Nick didn't get the boxing in for this one. Andre Ward got cut. He was out of the fight, so there was no training with Andre Ward, and there was no training in that whole camp over there with Nick Diaz, and I think that was one of the things he's very...
Yeah, well, if this is where we're going to do this, you know, when you talk about boxing and what boxing makes, there's a handful of guys that make Floyd Mayweather money. There's actually a couple guys that make Floyd Mayweather's too. You got Pacquiao and you got Floyd. And then the rest of the guys, there's thousands of guys that make nothing, you know. And when you talk about being compensated for sparring, that is what you guys do. You guys set your camp and you build your camp and you bring guys in for sparring. Everybody does. That's what boxing does too. And yes, you might compensate your guys. And if you're fighting under the promoter and he pays for it, he takes that out of your check. If you don't show up for 6 flights, you miss 6 flights to show up for a press conference, the promoter charges you for those 6 flights. We don't. We pay for them. We take them on the chin every time you miss a flight, and the list goes on and on. Believe me, I've heard the arguments from the guys in the sport about boxing. If you're pissed off at what's going on here, go try boxing and see how that works out for you. What's Andre Ward making a fight?
I don't know what he's making, but
yeah.
And I think we're going to the wrong direction.
No, I hear you, but
our frustration is not to do with our tight circle, is what Nick is trying to say, but I think most people here don't know the whole story. Our frustration is with training partners coming over from boxing.
Yeah,
and we're trying to mesh the two together.
And the reality is, when you get to a level that Nick Diaz is, I 100% get it. Who the hell wants to go over and spar with him and get their head punched in for 5 rounds? Probably not many people.
Against an MMA fighter.
And
that's
yeah,
part of the thing that's happening over where we're at.
I hear you. No, I hear you. When you get to that level, it's tough.
They take whoopings in their fights, man. They take their whooping so you punch yourself out of their face and shit until they can take over, man. That's why they say, like, in a fight till the death, man, these motherfuckers will win, but they take a hell of a whooping to go there. They're basically banking on the fact that they won't die. You'll probably die, or you submit to dying quicker than them, you know. If the Diaz brothers were in boxing, you know, if they ever had real fights in boxing, like, Jesus Sotocaras would beat the shit out of them. But essentially, like, they have that type of style. And they take that type of whooping like Jesus Sotocaras did in his career, you know. Like, output is what gets them over.
To give you a fan-friendly fight.
Oh, nice right hand from Jesus Sotocaras. There you see a right from Nico Macias. Guess what? It's time to count punches, and here we are at over 2,000 punches already, basically over 1,200 punches already here in our main event. Jesus Sotocaras and Nico Macias about to go over the 1,000 mark as well.
Come on, Nico, step it up. Let's go. Get to 1,000 already.
There it is.
All right, thank you.
Wow, this is... I've never called anything like this, man. This is
crazy. Just keep the pictures up. Like, we both take pictures of the ground. Everybody does. But here's the thing, though. As tight as they are, they're not holding, they're not grabbing, and there's nothing where you're like, get away from each other. You're in the phone booth. I mean, nobody knows what a phone booth is anymore, but you're there, and you're tight, and you're trying to move something. Sotocaras, the conditioning that he did coming into this fight, you got to give him a lot of credit. I thought maybe in the later rounds, he would have been done at the age of 37, the amount of ring aware that he has, but he's looking like he's trying to box this kid. If he can just find a way to get some separation, he can do something, and I don't envy the judges tonight.
I mean, he said, I made my debut with a first-round knockout. I want to go out on top against Nico Macias. His last win was against Andre Berto. That was a long time ago for Jesus Sotocaras. He wants to get one again. That was in 2013. He hasn't won in his last 6 fights. He wants to change that tonight. And I don't envy the judges this evening. But round 7's in the books.
Time! time right there.
I believe Nick had interest in training with Robert Garcia, and Garcia didn't seem too interested in it, you know what I mean? He looked up a little bit of footage of Nick and wasn't too impressed. Also, his history, like with suspensions and that type of shit, like he didn't need any bad karma coming to the gym, that's what he was talking about. But also, like, he wasn't too impressed as much as people talk about them being the best boxers in the UFC or in MMA.
About Nick, wanting to meet me and coming, and he came over, but I didn't even go that day to the gym. I looked him up because I had no idea who he was. Everybody's telling me, damn, Nick, Nick
he is
Diaz.
the best boxing in MMA. Best, the best boxing.
Everybody told me, damn, go
He's
for
popular.
it. But I had no idea who he was, man. Then I looked him up. I seen a few little negative things about him. So maybe I could help him. I don't know, man. I like
He's
those
cool.
challenges.
He just like to smoke weed. What's wrong? And he got suspended for 9 years or something stupid like that.
That shit's legal everywhere anyway. So what the
Nah,
fuck?
they were hating on him. They were looking because he speaks his mind. So they look for something to stick him with. You know how it is. If you're the right.
But he sells.
He does
People
sell.
like it. People follow him. Those fans. They follow him. So why not? I wouldn't mind. If I had the time to work with him and help him out and maybe get him to be a better fighter. But I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I know that he went to the gym and tried getting a hold of me, but I didn't get to talk to him. So I don't know what's going on now.
We'll see what we could end up doing something together.
What is the worry there, I guess, with the stuff? You just don't want to deal with the negative stuff, or?
Well, there is a lot of negative suspensions and stuff like that. I don't want to be in there and be like the trainer's always the one that's being blamed. I don't want that happening. And maybe he's a different man now. Maybe he wants to do. So see, I want to get to know him first.
Yeah.
Once I know him, I'm very good at that. I know the people that I'm talking to, and once I get to know him, I'll know if he's for real or if he's just bullshitting me.
Obviously, he's looking at it from the perspective of a boxing match, right? But back to this, look this video up, analyzing that Nick Diaz thing. The title is Nick Diaz calls out Jorge Masvidal, interview breakdown, entering the mind of Nick Diaz. Rated 101. And this guy is pretty perceptive, Since the world is coming to an end, man, this is one of the dudes that has a little bit of deeper thinking, I guess. He looked past all the so-called gibberish. And I think that's what people have to get past to make sense of these camoed up half points that Nick is making.
I've got a whole lot of people that feel the same way.
So good luck trying to do it on your own, but if you had trouble, if you heard a lot of people maybe give that opinion of CTE brain damage and like he's not really providing any value as far as like updates or incentives to fight.
I'm excited about this upcoming fight. And you told me to never ask that question again, that you don't get excited for fights.
I'm just doing what I gotta do.
No, and I understood where you were coming
I'm a guy
from.
who's always been out to do what I gotta do, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you need to do what you have to do too. And that's what you should do.
Watch that video by Rated 101.
Because that's what it is. What are you talking about? I mean, people now I meet, like, you know what I mean? I mean, people now I meet, I'm like, there's no reason to lie or fake, or have like.
Who are you talking to?
Everywhere.
Okay.
What about Jim's Pulver?
I hope I feel as good as, fight day as I do today.
What does it mean to feel good right now?
I just feel like ready to fight, so.
And what does that mean? Like more of like a physical sense or a mental sense?
Both.
Or like,
both.
Is this the only way you can feel like you're about to get into a fight? Can you replicate this in a gym or anywhere? Or like what you're feeling now, you haven't felt in 6 years since you fought Anderson Silva? Is this like a completely different thing that you can't replicate anywhere?
I feel a lot different now than I used to. Some days I feel great. Some days I'm not all with it. But what did you mean? Sorry.
You feel like you're under stress this week?
Since I've had this fight coming up, I've been under a lot of stress. Yeah, for one, and then for two, things just didn't go my way. Watching my brother fight was hard. That was really hard for me to do. I didn't expect it to be like that. I wasn't really ready to leave what I was doing at the time, and it really kind of made me look at things differently after that. So I'm a lot different now than I was before I saw that fight. It was the wrong time for me to be in there watching that and then, you know, all up in the mix like that real quick, you know. Having to be taken back, I wouldn't even have gone. I would have stayed away and focused on myself. But I didn't know any better. I was just, you know, I was doing what I always did. So I was stressed out about a lot of other things, and then I watched that, and I was like, wow. You know, it took a lot out of me. It was good for me too, you know. There was things that were good about it, you know, for me to be there, and then there's things that weren't good. But it's just a lot to deal with, you know. Being away for 5 years and coming back and seeing that was really something new, you know. It really kind of knocked my block off. I took harder punches watching that than I ever did in sparring or in any fights. It's my brother, it's my baby brother, you know. It's hard to watch him fight.
Do you like the mindset that you're going into? Like, or do you feel like you're in a mindset space to walk into that octagon and do what you need to do?
No,
on
but
Saturday?
I never do. I never do. Yeah, I never do. Especially not now, but I never did. I never enjoyed fighting. It's just something that I do. All the people around me and all the money and the sponsors and all that, they won't let me get away from fighting, you know. There's things I could do, but that's not gonna work out, you know. I might as well just go and take my punches or, you know, I might as well just, you know, I don't want to look back and say, why did I not just do it, you know? Because even though I don't feel great. I feel great to fight. I don't feel great about everything. But if I don't do this, then I don't know how I'm gonna feel about myself if I don't, you know, 2 years down the road, if I'm sitting here going like, why didn't I just go and do these fights I would have won?
You was my brother, Charlie. You should have looked out for me a little bit. You should have taken care of me just a little bit so I wouldn't have to take them dives for the short end money.
Well, I had some bets down for you. You saw some money.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. Instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it.
It got me going when I was a kid. 5 months in, I was like, oh yeah, in 5 months, man, I'm gonna be good. And I was good. And then I'm like, after I make like 5-0, I'm gonna be so good. And I didn't even make it to 5-0. So then I had to go back for more. And it just, after that, it was just no way out. That's why, you know, I see the kids, you know, and I'm like, I try to tell them, you know, hey, like, you know, are you sure you want to do this, kid? You know, so I like to teach and train and be a part of the sport, but, you know, I got a few fights left, and if I can survive that and you know, keep the ball rolling a little bit, then it's probably a better option than not fighting. I know that I've contributed to a lot of the, you know, what this sport is, you know, it just doesn't, you know, it doesn't do anything for me though, you know.
When did that stop, do you think?
Well, it never started. I fight, and then everybody benefits, and I don't. I get paid to fight, and then I fight, and I don't enjoy fighting. You know, I have to concentrate on the fight to be the best fighter, and then, you know, I'm supposed to do all this other stuff that the other fighters do. It's like I'm being punished for not being a regular human being or a regular person, and then I'm like, well, hey, how come you guys didn't work as hard as I did? You know, like, how come you guys didn't train every day and do everything that I did? I did full distance triathlons. I did seven rounds. I do 7 rounds I mean, you know, 18 rounds a day, plus jiu-jitsu, wrestling, 6 days a week, my whole career. Then I finally stopped, and I met all these important people, and I moved around. You can call it a party, but I was partaking in like what was going on. And then all these people were like, you know, they're here for you or they're not here for you. You know what I mean? You don't really know. They're just kind of like, And then now it's like I'm being kind of punished in a way, like for how hard I went, like, on all these guys, because they didn't, you know, because they went to school and they didn't. I'm like, so, well, that's what you get. I was a fighter from the start. I mean, sorry you didn't get into it. Maybe you shouldn't have started fighting. And then you know, so in a way, I really, you know, I have a lot of resentment towards the sport for taking so much from me, but not, you know, giving anything back. You know, like, this is great. You know, they're promoting this fight. I didn't expect to be the main event or anything like that, or. But, you know, like John McCarthy says, you know, being a fighter is a hard life. You know, I take it like a man. I'm like, you know, I'm going in there to win. Do I feel confident? I never do. I never have. I've always felt like I'm gonna get trashed out there, like every fight I've ever done. So, how do you feel against Robbie Lawler? How do you feel? I feel like I'm gonna get out of me. And even when I win, I get beat up worse. So, I mean, what do you have, Usman? I think I'll beat Usman. I had a better shot at beating Usman than I do Lawler, just because because I already beat Lawler. This doesn't make sense for me to go in there and fight Robbie Lawler again. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm doing this. This should not happen. Whoever set this up is an idiot. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why this happened. I should be fighting Kamaru Usman, and that's it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to fight the guys my brother just fought. My brother fights at the same weight as me, so it's kind of like, it's kind of tough, you know, because I don't want to get in his way, and he gets in my way, and then I get in his way, and I'm like, yo, bro, like, what, you know, I'm like, yeah, take the whole damn thing, please, because that's what I wanted for you, was to be okay, you know. I really sacrificed myself for him, and now I'm in, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to fight Robbie Lawler again, when he don't deserve to get his ass whooped, and I know I'm going to beat the out of him, and I don't want to. And if I lose, I don't want to lose to Robbie Lawler. I already beat him. So, you know, that sucks. Everything just kind of rushed on in on me. I was busy trying to help people. That was never good. I should have been trying to help myself. I've always tried to help people, and it was a bad idea. I like to think it was a good idea. But really, like, I was in no position to help people. I should have been helping myself. And I did everything right. It's just, you know, being 38, you know, things came really quick, you know, and this fight is taking a lot more out of me. Not getting hit, not training hard, just, you know, just leading up, there was things I needed, you know, like, and people held it over my head, you know, because they wanted me to call them, or they wanted me to do these things like that normal people do, and I just expected it to go how I did when I was younger, and it didn't, and I can't blame anybody really. It's my fault for making those few wrong turns that I did. But I mean, how I feel today is great. If I feel today how on fight day, like how I do today, I'm gonna do really well. But you know, to be honest with you, I really don't want to do this. But that's how I feel every fight. I'm always walking out there like, why am I doing this? So.
That feeling, does that run all the way up through the locker room and then the walkout? Like literally when you're walking out, like and fans are cheering your name and your music is playing, like what is that? What's going to be running through your head?
Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? You know, I'm doing this for everybody that's telling me to do it. I'm not doing it for myself. I don't know. But I don't know what else. I am doing it for myself. I don't know what else to do for myself. So I'm just going to go do what I do. This is what I do. You know. But yeah. But the way it feels is like, why am I doing this? You know, I had a few people kind of screw me around, and then I realized like I don't really have that many real friends. And I said, man, I'm in big trouble now. So and that's with all the fighters. Same thing with a lot of them. But I had a really good game plan. I was going to open a gym, and then I realized like that was a fake. That was kind of like the people I was in business with were like kind of like just putting that in place for me to get worked up over, and it was never going to work out. I just got to cut my losses and do this fight. That's just how it is. I love you. You know, I like to say I love everyone and I love everything, but then I realize that that's not, I don't, and that's not good, you know? It's just like a figure of speech, I love to help people and I love to be, you know, a part of the sport, but I don't love what it's done to me.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling some of those feelings this week, but yeah, you've got a big fight,
yeah.
and like you got...
Hey, I feel like that every fight,
yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, I'm kind of a dark and dim person leading up to a fight, because I just despise these people who are happy to go out. I always say the same thing. I don't know if you're, I can't. I'm like, oh, you're so happy, and like, oh, this is gonna go. Like, you know, you don't have a doubt in your mind you're gonna lose. Yeah. Like you're so full of, you know, that's fake. Mm-hmm. And if it's not fake, it's like you must be crazy, because of course anything can happen out there.
No, man, I appreciate it. I think this is why people connect with you, that you're very real, especially in the week leading up to a fight. I think for a lot of people, it's not a fun thing. It's a very internal thing, and you're able to talk about it on camera. So I appreciate it, Nick.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the fight. I wish you the very best in it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Brett.